We lived in Peru for 3 months, and I want to live in other countries also. After the time of living in Peru, I definitely learned a lot about what it takes to live in a different country. Granted, I only have one experience, but I did learn a lot. And here are 5 tips that I have from that experience. Number 1, have a source of money that is coming into you so that you have money to spend on your different needs. When you're living in a different country, it's harder to find a job just naturally because it's a different country. So either have some kind of passive income that's always coming in. I had Airbnb, which that really helped us when we went to Peru. Or if you're lucky to have a job that you can work remotely all the time, that's another really good one. Otherwise, have a plan for trying to find a job when you're in the country you're traveling to. Out of those 3 things, number 2 is probably the easiest to just do because you just talk to your employer. I'm going to talk more about number 1 and 3 out of that because the second one is more about you just talking to your employer to be able to work remotely. All right, so let's start with number 1, the passive income way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be passive income, I guess, but something where you own your own business, which would actually be not passive at all, or something that's just literally generating complete passive income like dividend stocks. Regardless of whatever stream of income you have, the important thing is that you have it before you go and live in a different country, because it's a lot harder to create something in a different country from my experience. But you also very well can create something, some kind of stream of income when you're in a different country. It just might be a lot different than it would be if you're doing it from the United States, but definitely possible. The third way of making money that I referred to is finding a job when you're in the country. And neither me or Michelle found a job while we were there, but we did join a bunch of Facebook groups that were specifically for expats. One of the Facebook groups that we joined was specifically for expat jobs, and jobs are being posted pretty frequently. I know Michelle looked into the jobs a lot more than I did, and she actually had a phone interview for one of them.
Yeah, like Jake was saying, I got a phone interview for like a call center job, but it was remote, so you could call from your cell phone, and the interview went really well, but I didn't have experience selling the specific product that they were selling. I can't remember what it is. It was kind of an obscure thing to be selling. But yeah, the interview went well. I just lacked experience in this specific product.
I think an important thing for getting a job in a different country is also being able to speak the language of where you're going, because it makes it easier to get a job there then. Additionally, networking with people who are already living there, either expats or natives, can really help you find different lines of work. Two, do some research. Do as little or as much research as you think you need. For me, myself, I'm not much of a planner, so I don't do a ton of research. But it's good to have a little bit of a knowledge base before you go and live someplace, or even just travel in general, but especially when you're living in someplace else. Research based on yourself and not what other people are telling you to. When Michelle and I decided to live outside the country, basically our parameters then were cities that had over 700,000 people, and the cost of living was under like $1,500 for 2 people. Once we had an initial list, we narrowed it down based on other factors that we found when researching, like the safety of the place, the actual cost of living, such as how much rent would be, how much food is, how much other activities are, what activities they have. Basically, we catered it really toward ourselves and what we were really interested in. That's how we ended up with Lima. But once we chose Lima, we had to choose where to stay in Lima because Lima is such a big city We ended up on Miraflores because of the safety. If we were to redo this, we might choose a different sub-city of Lima, such as Barranco or Miraflores, but closer to Park Kennedy. However, the place we chose was really good. It ended up being really good. It was really safe, it was really cheap, and it was close to grocery stores, which was really important to us. For finding a place to rent for our time in Lima, we decided to go with Airbnb because it was a lot easier on our parts. If you're more confident in yourself finding a place when you get to the country, you could book a place in a hotel or Airbnb or short-term rental place for the first few days that you're there and literally spend the time looking for a place to live within your first couple days. We also chose Miraflores because it was really close to things that we wanted to do, such as being close to the water, being fairly close to central Lima where we could just take a bus in there, and being close to both Barranco and San Isidro, which are both safe areas that also offer many things to do. Make sure you plan at least a little bit before you go and live someplace so you have a general idea of what it's going to be like and how much you're going to pay for things, and basically whatever you personally want to do when you're in a different country. Number 3, learn at least some of the language of the place you're going to. If you're going to some place that you already speak the language, then you're already fine. But if you're going to some place where you don't speak the language, it's a really good idea to be able to know some of the language so you can communicate with people that don't speak your language. It makes getting around, doing things, buying groceries, doing just simple things that we take for granted when you're able to communicate with the people in their language. Even basic understanding of the language can really help a lot, and it just helps you do simple tasks. Simple. For learning new languages, I use Duolingo, and it's really hands-on, and it's kind of like a game, so it makes it more fun to learn a language. Number 4. Understand and be prepared for the money situation. What I mean by this is know the currency of the country you're going to. Make sure you know how and where to exchange money. Make sure you have cards that work in different countries. Whenever I travel to different countries, I make sure to bring some credit cards that have no foreign transaction fees, and then debit cards that have no ATM fees, even internationally. Some of the credit cards I use for this are the American Express Gold Card, Chase Sapphire Preferred, and others. Some of the debit cards I bring are sometimes SoFi or Charles Schwab. It doesn't make sense to spend extra money for no reason, such as taking out money when you're in a different country. So make it easy by getting one of those debit cards or using a credit card that has no foreign transaction fees. Five, relax and have fun. Living in a different country away from your friends and family and just people you know and in a different culture can be stressful at times. And if you let it weigh on you too much, you're not going to enjoy it. And the point of going a lot of the time is to enjoy it. So try to enjoy it as much as you can and relax and let it come to you. Let things come to you. Things are going to happen that are out of your control. You're not going to understand some things, but just relax and enjoy the moment. When we went to live in Peru, we ended up getting caught in the COVID lockdowns about a month and a half into living there. And we were literally just stuck in our apartment for the rest of the time we were there. And it was extremely stressful. However, we were really grateful for the time that we had already spent in Peru, and we had done a lot of things. And we're kind of just focused on the positives. We did what we could, which was basically contacting the embassy, letting them know that we were there, and hoping that they could do something about getting us out and back to the United States at the time. If you feel yourself starting to get stressed out, try and take a step back, relax, take a deep breath, and then come back and analyze why are you getting stressed out and what can you do about it to fix that. Don't let the little things ruin your vacation, your travels, or your living abroad situations.